Hello there, welcome back to my bench once again. And in this tutorial I'm going to tie you up a dry fly again. It's the stimulator. Very popular dry fly. Used in a variety of different places all over the world. And it's a very good high floating fly. Good imitation for a hopper sometimes, and also large stone flies. And it also makes a very good dry dropper rig if you're fishing a dry dropper, because it's a very nice high floating fly. So I'll get this guy out of the vise, a fresh hook in, I'll get going here for you. And the hook I'm using is a curved 3x long curved shanked hook, hopper hook I'll use. Makes a good hook for stimulators, so I'll get him locked in the vise here. Okay, there we go. Lock him down. And the thread I'm using is a fire orange UTC 70 denier. And I'm going to start my thread back 3 to 4 eye lengths back. I want lots of room for my thorax and wing tie off there, so we'll start that thread and go back touching wraps. And we'll go back just where the bend starts there. We'll snip that off. Snip our tag end off. Okay, a couple more wraps back. Okay, now the tail is elk hair, and I have that in the stacker here. I'm just going to even the tips up. Get that out of my stacker. And the way I judge the tails on mine stimulators is usually I'll go by the hook gape, and I want it not quite but almost as wide as the hook gape, so I'll measure it up that way. That's how I do mine. Okay, now, and also lengthwise I wanted about the hook gape for the length as well. So we'll come back, tie him in on top, we'll come down, a couple soft loops there, and we're going to work forward with keep soft loops going at first, and then cinch down, and then come back with some snug wraps towards where you first tied them in. Then we're going to come over the top of those loose wraps and tighten down, and we want to go back a little farther yet. There we go, and there's our tail. Now these here I don't want to trim those off, not all of them, because I'm going to want those for to make so we got a nice even dense body there. So I'm going to snip those off right about there to where I want the body to end. I'm going to trim these off. Got another straggler there. Okay, so now we'll move forward and wrap these guys down just like so here, and then come back and bind them down good and tight. There we go. That's good. Okay, next is our rib, and I have some fine copper wire here for the rib, so I'm going to tie that on my side of the hook along the side of the shank here. Tie that back to in front of the tail, just like so here. There we go. That's fine. Now if you have a couple hairs that roll down on the side, you can always snip those off. It doesn't hurt anything, but just for looks, snip those down. There we go. Okay, now we're going to do our body, and I'm using brown UV ice dub for the body. So I'm going to wax my thread up good for this. This dubbing's a little trickier to dub than your regular dubbing, so get that started. Dub a nice noodle on here. Get it nice and tight as you can on the thread. Just like so here. Okay, we'll work that on first and see how much more we need. It's better to add dubbing than try to take it off, that's for sure, as we know. Okay, work that back. I want that a little bit tighter. And I'm going to make a couple wraps right in front of that tail there, and move forward. Just like so. That looks good. Okay. Just keep wrapping forward. Keeping that noodle nice and tight. There we go. Okay, and some more wax on the thread here. Some more dubbing. Dub that on. Okay. See, this might do it here, what I have on the thread this time. We'll see if this does it for us here. Okay. Just make sure that goes on there nice and tight. Okay. And there we go. That's fine. There's our body. I'm just going to throw in a half hitch here at this point. Okay, now next we're going to tie in our body hackle, and I'm using a dark furnace saddle hackle. I'm going to tie him in. Tie him in right in front of the body here. Want him facing back the way we want him to go. And snug that hackle stem down good with several snug wraps. Tie him in good and tight. Snip off the excess. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, we're going to start to wrap that hackle here. We'll make one wrap right at the front of the body here. And we're going to go back with just evenly spaced wraps. Just like so here. Okay. And I'll get one more wrap in here. Then I'm going to grab that tip, grab my wire, switch hands, and I'm going to come up over top of that hackle tip once. And I'm going to do 2 wraps on that first wrap. Then I'm going to wiggle that wire up through the hackle. Evenly spaced wraps, even as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. And we're going to come right up and tie this guy off. Make a couple wraps in front of the body. Go behind him here, make a wrap, and then I'm going to go back on him, wrap back, lock that wire in good. Just like so. Then we're going to helicopter that off. And next come in and snip off our tip that we tied down at the rear of the hook here. Snip that out. And there we go. A few wraps there. Okay. Next is our wing, and I have some more carry and another stacker here. I'm going to even that up. Make sure my tips are even. Okay, and the wing I go about the same as the tail. Same density of hair, maybe a tad bit more, about the hook gap width is what I judge it by. In length, I like to have it go back about halfway. So I'm going to set that in, measure. And I'm going to trim, bring them back out off the top of the hook here. And all my hair wings, what I like to do, you probably see me do in other videos, I like to put a little bit of hit spin on the butt ends before I tie it down. It's for added durability. So we're going to bring that wing in, place it right on top. Make one wrap, pull down, then come back with some loose wraps at first, not too tight. To get your wing in place here where you want it. Check the other side. That looks good. Okay, then come forward and wrap really down nice and snug. Come down tight on those wraps coming forward. Wind those down good. And come back and wrap a little tighter as you come back. Just like so. There we go. Okay, a couple more wraps back. And there's our wing placed. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okie dokie. So our next step is to dub our thorax. And for the dubbing, I'm using laser dub in a fire orange color. I like an orange thorax on my stimulators. Something about that orange color. So I'll put a little more wax on the thread here. And dub some of this on. Make a nice noodle here. Whoops, I'm getting ahead of myself once again. First off, I better tie in our hackle that we palmer over the thorax before I go too much farther here. So, I have a grizzly hackle all sized and prepared. We'll tie him in here. Right in front of our wing. Just like so. There we go. That's fine. Okay, now tie that stem down good. Nice snug wraps. Come back. Okay, I'm gonna snip off that tip there. Once I get my scissors in there, it's where fine tip scissors come in handy for that tight work. Okay, now we'll dub that noodle on there. So I just got ahead of myself a little. That happens sometimes. If you've been doing some production tying, that happens. Okay, so I'm gonna dub our thorax here. The first wrap. Okay, that looks fine. I need some more dubbing on there yet. One more wax. Some more dubbing. Okay. Let's see if this gets us to where we want to be on the thorax here. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to tighten that noodle up a little bit there. Forward and ahead, there we go. That looks great. Okay. Just where I want it. Okie dokie. Next, we're going to wrap our front hackle through our thorax. Same as the body, we're just going to make evenly spaced wraps. So we'll take our first turn right in front of the wing here, just like so. Come down and just keep wrapping forward. I'm going to grab my hackle pliers for this guy. Okay, another wrap. Then one more. Usually I get 4 to 5 wraps. Okay, and we're going to tie him off. A couple wraps behind our tackle tip there. And we're going to wrap back on him to lock him in place. Then we're going to come in easy like and snip off that tip. Just like so. There we go. Okay, so there's our front hackle. So the first thing I'm going to do first is throw in a half hitch or two. Just like so. There's one. Throw in one more. Okay, there's a couple half hitches. Now, just want to check and make sure everything looks good here. Okay, that looks fine. Now I'm going to come in with my whip finisher. Do a 4 to 5 turn whip finish here. A little winch hit on this guy. There we go. Come down. Okie dokie, snug that in good. I'm going to snip off that excess thread. There we go. It's a done deal. Another size 8 stimulator. So all's left to do is put my resin on the head of this guy and cure it up. He's done deal. So get some bone dry here. And I'm just going to work it on the head of those thread wraps there on the head. Just work it around. Don't need it too much on. You don't want to get any on your hackles if you can help it. That's fine right there. And we're going to cure that up real fast here. Only takes a few seconds. There we go. So he's a done deal. Okay. So once again, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And you can tie this guy up and give him a try. I'm going to see if I can bring him in. I want to bring him in a little closer for you here so you can get a little better view. So, if you like this tutorial and you want to see more, I'd really appreciate it if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that a lot. And throw in a like too if you wish. And I want to thank you very much for watching, like always. And until next time, happy tying. And I'll see you again soon. And so long for now, folks.